Excessively high action on your guitar can significantly reduce playability, leaving you frustrated and can ultimately lead to violence. So how can you fix this problem? Most electric guitars have a bridge adjustment where the strings can be lowered, while the saddle on acoustics can be shaved down to lower the action. But what if none of this solves the problem? Well, if you have a bolt-on neck, you can purchase a pre-made shim to raise the neck up, but they can be overpriced, and there are so many to choose from, getting the right one can become another source of frustration. The good news is that with some simple primitive tools, you can manufacture your own custom shim for your guitar. This video and the next will reveal the play-by-play on how to do this. Okie dokie. What I have here is just some craft sticks. It's nice to have these around. I've had them for a while. I've used them on other guitars. And what I'm going to do, I'll show you this way, it'll be easier. I'm going to put it all the way to the front, line this edge up with this edge of the pocket, and you can mark at this edge of the pocket so that I can take my snippers that we all know and love here, and I can carefully snip it so that it fits in the pocket. Some shaving will need to be done, but also what I want to do is make sure that I round the edges of this over so that it fits all the way to the front, because if I start creating my shim dowels, we'll call them, because these are just going to be to gauge how thick it needs to be at the front and how thick it needs to be at the back. So this will be, front will be thicker, back will be almost razor thin, so it'll be a wedge type shim. The further I move it back this way, the more it's going to lift it up in the front. So I want a full shim in there, if at all possible. So I'm going to make sure that this fits all the way to the front of the pocket. Okay, I've set up a little sanding station here, or shaping station, or whatever. These are sticky back 80, 150, and the first thing I want to do is kind of shape it down a little bit, make sure that it fits lengthwise in the pocket. Cut it a little long, so I'm going to do that. It looks like it's getting pretty close. So the 80 is to cut it fast, the 50 is to kind of smooth it out and take the garbage off the edge there. Yeah, that's pretty good. Okay, now for the shaping phase. Okay, I need to round off the edges to match the pocket. See the edges being rounded. Show me the right side there. I'm going to have to start all over again. Okay, you got both sides basically shaped. Drop it down at the bottom there. That fits really nicely. It wedges in there, which is what I wanted. Let's take a peek at it from the top so I can show y'all. So as you can see, it fits fairly well in there. Could shave it a little bit more this corner over here, but I'll get that handled. But the idea behind that is when I'm done, I'll use this stick to demonstrate. I'll use this paper here to thin it up little by little until I get the right amount of shim I want in the front. And I will do the same with the back. And then I'll use the front and the back as gauges to create the taper. Okie dokie, fast forward. I have created here the back, the heel, if you will, shiminator, if you want to call it that. So I had to round it off a little bit on the bottom side there because there's a glue bead inside of there. I want it to fit flush down on there and kind of tight so that it's not binding in the corners inside of there if I keep the camera on it. So I have the front one, the heel, and now we will, what I want to do next is check the bridge. I want to lower it as low as I can, and I think I want to take it out of there and see if there's any way to make it go even lower, because it doesn't seem to want to, the chrome that you see there doesn't want to go level with the actual bridge wood there. So we're going to take that unit off and see if there's anything underneath there that can be cleared out of the way and make it go lower. So, and you'll see why eventually. So here we go. I'll set the camera up on the tripod and we'll do this. Okay, I've zoomed in a skosh. See, I've loosened these all the way up. And we'll push no further down. So I'm going to take this out a little bit more, see if I can work this booger out of there. There we go. Oh, easy now. And there does appear to be some obstructions in there. So I'm going to have to take the camera off the tripod to show this. Oh, I think, well, no, you can probably see it. The same way on both sides. Dramamine out. See if I can get a really nice close-up of this with the zoom instead of taking the camera off the tripod. Oops, zoomy. Uh-oh. Going blurry. Okay. As you can see right here, there's some slop in there from drilling down so that these screws can recess down into the bridge. So I'm going to clean that out. I'm going to put the bridge back on and see how low we can go. Okay, I've cleaned most of the garbage out of there. What I couldn't get to cut loose, I kind of just pushed down into the holes there. So we'll see if we can get the bridge to go a little bit lower. Oh yeah, I made it go a lot lower. The chrome still is not flush with the wood, but it's a lot closer. So that's one thing I want to make sure of, is that we have the bridge as low as it can go at this point. And next we will go ahead and clamp the neck on there and see where this thickness of shims put it at. I'm sure it's going to be too high. So I'll get that neck clamped on and we'll take a peek. Here we are with the body upside down, getting ready to clamp it. One thing to note is that I have this piece of paint stick from Home Depot or Lowe's, don't know which, the name's wore off of it. And I've coated it with some blue tape to avoid screwing up the finish on this and to avoid any major frustrations, which there will be if I don't do this. I'm going to have to tape this to the guitar so that it doesn't move around when I'm trying to clamp the neck on. And the reason I show you these things is not because you'll ever have this particular guitar and you want to clamp it on this particular way, but it's just to think, you know, avoid scratching the finish, avoid being frustrated by this thing moving around while you're trying to clamp it on. So it's just kind of a common sense lesson. You may never do this particular type of guitar this way, and this whole process is also applicable to electric guitars with bolt-on necks as well. So just so happens this is an acoustic with a bolt-on neck. So we will do the same thing to the neck, and yeah, we'll get this thing clamped on here. The clamping of the neck was relatively seamless, so if you use common sense for any kind of procedure when it comes to working on a guitar, then you can get things done. Of course, the wood is spreading out the pressure, and there's not a whole bunch of pressure on there. Both sides are protected, and they were taped on, so I didn't have to fumble around with it so much. So now that we have this in place, I've also prepared a little dealio here. This is thread, extremely strong thread. You can't take and just break it with your hands. You actually cut into your hands. It's very strong thread. I use this. I wish I had some white, but I don't. To check the height of the string at this point with the bridge all the way down. And so I just use it just like a string. Tie that little end on there, and I'll run it in the place where it goes. And we will check to see what the action is like here in a second. Because what I'll do is at this end over here, I'll run it through the low E, across to the high E, and back over to the bridge if I don't break it, and we'll check it out. But I use this thread here on my maple neck in my first build. If you haven't watched that series, it is available on YouTube. So I'll do that real quick, and we'll get a different angle on it and see where the action is, hopefully with any luck. So be right back. Okay, I had to put some green tape behind it. Like I said, I wish I had some white thread, but I don't. Now that's pulled taut between the bridge and the low E tuner, and on the other side we have it tied off to the the bridge as well. So you can see that going straight up did not get me a whole bunch. I didn't touch this thing since I checked the original. So now we got, instead of being to the bottom, which would, you know, would make a difference with this thinner string, but we are now basically to the top. So we moved it maybe a 32nd by going straight up with the neck. So it's definitely going to have to be tilted to get the action better. And so I'd like to get it to where the thread, fix that tape there, where the thread is almost laying on the frets, so that I can use the bridge to raise it back up again to where it plays nicely without fret buzz. So that's the goal. Next video we'll go ahead and get this thing shaped. I'll shave the back dowel back here, back test dowel, get it down to where we want it, get the tilt in it, and then we will make a shim for it at that tilt, or taper, if you will. So until next time, rock on, and we'll get this thing dialed in another couple of videos, I hope. So thanks for watching. Toodles.